is going to immediately snap off the Ambessa. This is something that's been banned against him a number of times, and that is going to be the Legend Achiever 9 Ambessa in the top lane up against Wordoi. Wordoi, of course, has had his Camille banned away, and so we'll have to see what his preferred counterpick to the Ambessa is. I am very interested to see that. There is also, for what it's worth, some possibility. I do believe Gunner62, I think, did play at least one game of the Ambessa. The Gwen is going to get locked here. That is, I'm assuming, going to be going into Wordoi's hand. I think it's really unlikely we're going to see that as a Triptoid jungle pick. So probably going to be the Gwen top, and potentially Ambessa is going to be going, into top or mid. I think it's far more likely to be top. Just based, compositionally the way that I think Squirt Bottle tends to play. So we're probably going to be seeing Ambessa versus Gwen top. These are, I believe, the two highest presence top laners in Rumble so far. The other really high presence champion that we've been seeing, well, besides the Xin Zhao, of course, as a jungler, Ahri is higher than either of them, I believe. Though I think this series we might not see Ahri get picked. We'll see. But we got the Pantheon locked in. That is going to be a Triptoid Pantheon, most likely. Always got to keep in mind there is an outside shot here of a Pantheon flex, but I think we actually saw Triptoid be really, really successful in the pick. Went up 5-0, then wasted his flash, doing one of the worst Pantheon flashes I've ever seen, and then didn't really do anything for the rest of the game, but did win. Of course, Rammus 310 is currently undefeated, and so despite the many crimes that Triptoid has committed, they still have not lost any games, and so we'll have to see if they can keep that rolling. I don't really expect that Ivern to get locked in. Yeah, that would have been pretty surprising to me, as we're seeing a Pyke come in here. Okay, so this is going to be a Pyke lock-in before the second round of bans, in order to make sure that Rafflecopter has his support of choice. So we're seeing the Pantheon and the Pyke come in. No Ivern. Yeah, I don't think the Ivern was ever going to be likely here. I don't think. As far as these teams go, if there's an Ivern locked in, it's going to be on Squirt Bottle, and it would be Aphek piloting that one for sure. I think the only chance of Ivern getting played in Rumble at all, I think, would be Aphek playing it. I don't think any other jungler in this entire tournament would ever play Ivern, to my knowledge. Maybe if Ivern was crazy strong, you might see Sicko Scott pick it, but I don't think there's any other junglers in this tournament entirely that would play it, really, realistically looking at it. But we are seeing the Aphek Nunu. We're going to be rolling it down here. The Karthus is banned up against Oberon. That would have been an interesting one here because it already got magic damage in the top lane from the Gwen. But I think the Karthus was certainly still on the table here for Rammus 310. They've got a lot of physical damage from the Pantheon and the Pyke, so I don't think they would have been too sad about that. Oh, that's actually a good point. I got to get my prediction set up. Let me cross a couple of these things out. Prediction, start prediction. Who wins game one? We're going to do Squirt Bottle versus Rammus 310. All right, so my prediction is ready to go. The Fiddlesticks and the Talia have been taken away. That's a Fiddlesticks support ban, I believe. This Ezreal has gotten locked in. That is almost certainly to be Puppers playing the Ezreal. And the Fiddlestick support is quite strong on the current patch, and something that I believe Freak has been playing a little bit of, so I think a smart ban there. The Talia ban is towards Gunner. I think Gunner had a decent performance on it previously, and so it makes sense to take that one out. Thank you for the follow, and we'll have to see what's going to come out here. My assumption is this is going to be your AD carry, right? You save your mid lane for mid lane counter pick for red 5 here. So the question is, what does Oberon want to pick here with the Pyke? It's going to be the Tristana. They're going to go for a kill lane. I will say the Ezreal is decently set up to hold up against this. They can take a defensive support like a Poppy or something like that, and I think they can probably be okay laning up against the Pyke Tristana. Pyke Tristana is scary, not just for killing you, but also taking your tower, right? The Pyke zones you off, and the Tristana just blows up your turret. But still, though, all told, I do like this pick ban so far from Squirt Bottle. I think the scary thing is you have given over some very solid picks, I think, for Rammus 310. The Gwen for Wordoi, I think, is a pretty scary pick. The Pantheon for Triptoid, he did look pretty good on that. The Pyke for Rafflecopter, the Tristana for Oberon. These are all picks that I think are quite good for these players. And compositionally speaking, it doesn't take much to put this together from the mid lane perspective. So The Hui is going to get picked here. That is going to be the mid lane pick here, I do believe, for Gunner 62. We are hovering a mid lane pick, and the Cho'Gath would be an interesting choice. It would give you a bit of a beefier, a bit more front line, which is interesting. I think I personally I have no idea what the matchup into Hui looks like. The Aurelion Soul instead is going to get locked in for Fofox. That is more of a traditional Fofox pick. It's definitely something he's more practiced on overall, even though I thought his Cho'Gath did look quite good. The A-Soul is going to come in here. So it's going to be Scaling Mage v Scaling, Scaling Mage versus Scaling Mage, basically, in the mid lane. Let me grab a quick screenshot of this for my sheet. So that we can have that for later. Let me put up the Gamba so people can do their thing here. All right, predictions are a go. Put in your points. Predictions are up. You can bet your fridges. We are seeing, as expected, the Puppers Ezreal, the Freak Poppy, the Mbessa going to Legend Achiever 9. Can't see the arrangement of the champions on the other side, but there's no real mystery there. We know this is a Pantheon jungle for Triptoid. We know this is a Aurelion Soul mid for Fofox, and a Pike support for Rafflecopter, Tristana 80 carry for Oberon. So no surprises there, yeah, we'll be seeing what the Mbessa build is. I'm actually very interested to see what the Mbessa build into Gwen is. I've been saying this, whenever we've seen an Mbessa, in these Rumble games, I am not practiced as or against Mbessa. I just haven't played a ton of top lane since Mbessa came out, and so because of that, I'm not as familiar with these matchups. So if anyone has any in-depth knowledge about the Mbessa versus Gwen matchup, please let me know. I would love to hear it, but. Yeah, maybe someone named Wick might be able to give some insight into what exactly is about to go down here in the top lane. I just don't have the knowledge. It's just not something I'm super familiar with. As we're seeing, I think if I were looking at this in totality, I actually like the bot lane here for Squirt Bottle. I think the Ezreal Poppy, having the Poppy to bonk the, to bonk the Tristana and the Pike out of their dashes is super nice here. He's going to buy Eclipse, and then he's going to buy Spear, and then he's going to buy DD or Maw. Well, that doesn't really tell me how the lane is going to go in a very exciting way. But I'm surprised there's no Mbessa jungle in PC League. There is some Mbessa jungle. It's just I think it's quite weak, right? I don't know what the win rate is on it these days, but anyway, let me grab some water here while we're waiting for this champ select to cook. He's gonna go grasp as well. Yeah, I believe that. Grasp and D-Shield start. Feel like red draft is better. I think from a 5v5 perspective, I do prefer... Well, that's kind of interesting. The question, I think, as is the case in most games with Nunu is just so useless outside of the early game. The question is just always, how much can the Nunu get the team ahead before the Nunu is completely useless? That's just always the question I'm asking in any single game. Any game that I see Nunu, the question is always how much can the Nunu do in the early game when he's not useless? And honestly, it's kind of a similar question for Pantheon, but I think Pantheon is actually less useless. It's kind of crazy for me to think about this, to think about saying this, think about saying that 5 or 6 years ago, but I actually think the Pantheon scales a lot better than the Nunu does these days. So it's always it's always tough. As we're seeing, it is an Ignite for Gwen. It's actually not a Grasp on the Mbessa. We're seeing an Electrocute coming out here, which I really like to see. Mostly because I think it's more exciting, not because I think it's better. I have no idea what's better. The TP is here on the Ezreal, and we're actually seeing a barrier on the other side. As let me take out the chat. Take out the time controls, get the scoreboard up. We're going to then zoom out a little bit here. We're going to arrange the scoreboard. That's correct. Switch these two, switch this, and we are good to go. As we'll see if we get any level 1 action here. I'll speed up, for 2 seconds. Let's take a look here. It actually looks like we might potentially see some level 1 action here, as we might be seeing a short level 1. No, they actually see the ward. I actually really dislike that ward, by the way. That ward is just asking to give over free gold. As a little bit of damage going over there, getting a mana flow ban trigger, I do believe. That is correct, right? Let's take a look at Gunner 62. Yes, does have mana flow. Anything else exciting here? Oh, Jack of all trades on the way. Is that standard? Oh, triple tonic. Gunner 62 is a believer in my work. Yeah, mana flow for ward trade, I don't think is in favor of the ward. So I think as Rammus 310, you're not like thrilled about that, but you're reasonably happy with that trade. It's a good deal for you, I think. Let's see. Is there anything else unusual here in terms of runes? My eyes immediately went to the Electrocute Ambessa. We're seeing pretty standard phase rush on the Nunu. I did mention the TP on the Ezreal is here, which is interesting. I mean, TP I think is a little risky in the sense that if you do get caught by like a pike hook or something like that, like you get hit level 1. Like imagine if that hit, right? Not having the barrier, on the Ezreal is a bit scary here in my opinion. You are playing against a very powerful early game bot lane that can definitely do some real threatening on you as the Ambessa is getting taking the worst end of the trades early here from the Gwen, as I would expect. Since the Gwen Q at rank level 1 and the Gwen E early on are going to be doing some work as the level 2 is coming out, the hook coming in, and this is why I was saying you want the barrier. That's where the TP is a huge disadvantage. If you have the barrier, maybe you can live. Oh, that is rough. And that's what's scary going against Pike not Pike Ezreal, like Pike Tristana. These champions are strong in the early lane. And the TP is coming in, but it's like, what did you even get by TPing there? Look at this. So this minion would have died, right? Okay, sure. But let's take a closer look. Okay, so that minion would have died. But I think with Death Guard, as we're seeing, okay, that's a nice buffer. But with Death Guard, your TP maybe got you 2 melees, maybe 3. But how do you get a 1 or a 2 next to your name? That's for predictions. So that is indicating which team you're a believer in. So two is the red side team, in this case Rammus 310, and 1 is the blue side team, Squirt Bottle. So anyway. Very exciting mid lane. Mid laners are even in CS and for sure doing something interesting. Let's hope that directed camera never takes us back to mid lane. I don't really expect anything will happen there. Honestly, even with jungler intervention, maybe the Nunu snowball can do something, since the ASOL actually doesn't have really great options to deal with the Nunu snowball. So there's some potential for Nunu ganks there, but I think there's very little potential for Triptoid Pantheon ganks in mid. It's just very hard to actually get to the Hui and like do something to him. Because if you ult, you can just get feared insta. So there is a bit of an altercation here. Rafflecopter is burning, does flash out. Aphic is going to go down here to the Tristana jump. Why are we looking at top lane trade? Let's take a look back at the bot lane. There is a stun onto Oberon. Puppers is way out of position here. No flash on Puppers, and that is, oh no. That is a disaster for Squirt Bottle, as 3 kills to 0. They lost the flash there off of the Poppy and the Ignite. They blew all their summoners, right? The Nunu flash. Everything has been burned, as Legend Achiever 9 getting solo killed by Wordo. He's down a ton of farm. What is happening in this game? It's just a devastation, as we're seeing the Nunu come in here. Keep in mind, by the way, the Nunu has no flash, as a little bit of damage blocked there onto the Hui. And that is a nice play. I think nice flash forward by Gunner62. Get something back for your team. As we're seeing Rafflecopter does not have flash, will go for the hook. If this lands, okay, if that landed, I think they probably have that kill, since Gunner62 did just use the flash aggressively. But huge play for Wordoy there. And okay, Wordoy has no flash. I actually think this is going to be a nice kill. I think there's a bit of an overplay. And this is where the Nunu's strong, right? You got to get your advantages out of the early game Nunu. And the TPs, both TPs were already blown there from top lane. So that's actually a really, really good timing for a kill. Really, really big. That kill was critical, because if you don't get that kill on that timer, pretty much exactly, this game is over for Legend Achiever 9, right? Like that's like death in the 1v1 to Wordoy with the wave under the tower when you were already down over 10 CS. to the Gwen, who had not yet used ultimate, didn't use Ignite. That I think, if you don't get that counter kill, you are in a horrible position. So really, really, really important counter. I will say, look, let's let X here look at the gold. That just puts you back to even, though. Like, that doesn't even get you ahead, as Freak is dead, and Oberon is absolutely massive. Has a BF sword, 301. Look at the gold differential, up over 1,000 gold. Gunner 62 is getting breathed on by this A-Soul, as I think the Pantheon is just going to slap him down. Maybe could have given that kill over to Fofox, but unfortunate angle there from Aphic. If Aphic had been able to get the snowball into Fofox, I think maybe could have gotten a trade kill, though hard with the flash on the A-Soul, but maybe possible. But just due to the angle, snowball had to go into the Pantheon, couldn't quite get that. Yeah, Bloodbath, like I said, yeah, lots of action going on in the mid lane for sure. Yeah, definitely happening. Anyway, Triptoid and Wordoid are getting these grubs. That is going to be a contest coming in from the Nunu here. Triptoid is quite low. W not used particularly well there by the Nunu, but that is actually, I think, going to be totally fine here as the Pyke is here. And with the Pyke moving in, I think they might look to go for a grub contest, but does not look like it. Looks like Triptoid is just saying, nope, I'm too low. I can't do anything. Both junglers taking one grub and then immediately bailing out. I don't know about this play from the Nunu. The Nunu is deep in the jungle. The Rafflecopter is here. Kind of scary. I feel like that was a pretty dangerous play from Aphic. If the Pyke had started to collapse instantly, he would have been in a lot of trouble. Like, yes, the Poppy was nearby, or was coming, but the Poppy was not nearby. Was not close enough to participate in that fight. Freak is going to get a nice wall pin on the A-Soul, but keep in mind, Freak is down 3 levels to this A-Soul. I just think that's you can't be walking up like that when you're level 4. You got to be careful, as Puppers will dodge the slow and the damage from the Tristana W. That was critical, because I think if that slow lands, you have to flash there as the Ezreal, because you're going to get, because of the slow, you get the bomb, and the reset comes through from the bomb on the Tristana W, and then you get burned down. Whew. And seeing some trades here. Nice little response there. I think that was a nice counter trade by Legend Jeever 9, getting a nice shield into an electrocute trade. The thing you have to be concerned with is you are going to be in danger here as the R3 from the Gwen missing. I think if that R3 goes through both Legend Jeever 9 and Aphic, it might give you enough health to actually get another, little bit of damage onto Legend Jeever 9. Nice ganks from Aphic in the top lane. I will say, Aphic has salvaged this top lane. Like, this top lane in the pure 1v1 was completely over for Legend Jeever 9, and at this point, let's hit X here. Legend Jeever 9 is now actually ahead from these 2 repeat ganks by the Nunu. The Nunu has gotten 2 of the grubs. One did go over to the Rammus 310 side, but whew, I think as Legend Jeever 9, you are saying thank you, Aphic. I will next time the enemy jungler invades, I will drop 3 waves under my turret. I will do whatever it takes to defend your jungle. We will do whatever we have to do, because you are fallen down. You are extremely grateful to the help that your Nunu has given you to completely bail you out. As nice little hook there by Rafflecopter, but just going to be a quick trade. And the Ezreal is down to about 60%, and that is scary because even if the Poppy gets here, as Puppers flashes, oh no, disaster, flashed and still got hooked as another gank coming in here from Aphic, and Wordoid this time does not have flash, or sorry, does not have ult. With the ult there, potentially could have gotten something done, but just getting absolutely punished here by the Nunu. That is one of the risks that you do take on when you do go for the flashless Gwen. It is really nice for generating the leads in the 1v1, but without Flash, you are pretty vulnerable to champions like the Nunu. This game, I personally probably would have taken Flash. As much as I like Ignite for the extra 1v1 pressure, I just think having no Flash against Nunu is too much of a liability. But I respect Wordoid going for the aggressive option and opting into this play. So let's take another look at X here. At this point, Wordoid is down by about 500 gold. So that is the main advantage that Squirt Bottle does have. Because if you look at the other roles, mid lane is pretty close to even, small advantage for a Fofox. The jungle is pretty even, and there is a massive crater in the bot lane. Look at this gold differential, 2,800 to 4,900. Oberon is up 2,000 gold on Puppers. It is not even remotely close in the bot lane here, as Legend Jeever 9 trying to set up a little bit of a hold here in the top lane, but that number of minions with that HP will not freeze the wave. And also, there's some people coming in here. Triptoid is on the top side. Rafflecopter is here on the pike. As we're seeing a bit of an altercation, Triptoid is going to get stunned into the wall, but team is here to back him up, and Freak is in a little bit deep here. Going to get cut down. Was maybe looking for a flash over that wall, but that's just not going to happen. Wardoy throwing R3 into the fun. Or, sorry, into the fun. What am I talking about? Throwing R3 out for fun, as just didn't have anyone to hit with that. Legend Eater 9, I think, knowing the Gwen ult is down, you can make a bit more aggressive trades here. Wave is pushing into Wardoy, so it doesn't have to walk up. Rafflecopter is here. Looks like the Nunu is setting up for... I think the Nunu here is sitting on this, potentially looking for another gank, but is extensively warded out. The Gwen will know this is coming and does have Rafflecopter in pocket here to try and interrupt this. And why are we looking there, directed camera? This is going to be a kill onto Aphik. And as much good as those early plays did for Legend Eater 9, that is really, really rough. Like having your jungler come up and basically just snowball into the enemy turret to die, that's rough. I was gonna say I would be kind of surprised if Wardoy actually backs here. I think you can pretty safely take this wave. Sure, you take a little damage as oh no, bot lane is looking brutal as oh no, Legend Eater 9 feeling I think pressured. I think feeling pretty pressured to make a play there. He knows his team is losing. He knows the bot lane is just an absolute crater. I think, like, as Legend Eater 9, I can totally understand the mentality. You feel like you have to take risks, but tanking that turret shot, you have to know your opponent has Ignite. You can't get into those close kill thresholds. And that, I think, well, yes, from the Legend Eater 9 perspective, you're thinking, I have to take risks. I have to get ahead. Giving back the lead to the Gwen. I mean, let's take a look at the gold. The Gwen is now ahead about 500 gold. This lead has been slingshotting back and forth. That is going to make things really, really, really hard now. They were already really hard, and now they're just. It's so difficult. I mean, look at the gold lead. It's 5,000 gold. It's not even 13 minutes yet, and it's such a big gold lead as Triptoid is sitting here waiting. A lot of people here from Squirt Bottle trying to punish Triptoid as the Sky's Descend comes out from the Asol. Triptoid is going to be able to probably take one of these away with a smite, would be my guess. Gunner 62 taking some damage. Ignite thrown down by Rafflecopter. And Triptoid is going to get one of these. And the Grubs are going to get split 4 in favor of Squirt Bottle. So light advantage there as the Poppy is going to go down. Freak. It is not Freak season for once this game. As Legend Eater 9 trying to get something back. We'll be able to get the shutdown on the Asol. That is the least important shutdown to get, though. That one was just not that much gold. The Tristana is monstrously huge. Let's take a look at this gold. The Tristana has 7,000 gold. That is almost more than any 2 members of Squirt Bottle combined. Like, it is just so much gold. Auberon has barrier, and it's so hard. When a Tristana is this fed, and Aphik is dead, I think. Oh, well, the shield. Oh, no, what a disaster. The Triumph and the level up coming through. Let's take another look here, because I actually think Aphik might have been able to have this as, okay, Smite comes through, Flash comes through. Aphik ults and cancels early. If he goes for a little bit more on the channel there, he could actually get the shutdown. And I mean, the shutdown going on Nunu is really not what you want. Like, Nunu having gold is irrelevant. The champion is just useless. As nice Ezreal ult there from Puppers, getting the kill onto the pike. That one's nice. But I think the thing that's brutal about that is, at least if you shut down the Tristana, you slow down her acceleration here. But, like, because the Tristana lives, the Tristana gets to take another turret, gets more gold, probably going to base for an entire Infinity Edge here, I think. Like, let's take a look and see if it actually has the whole item here. But I think that's enough. Yep, Infinity Edge completed. This Tristana has 2 items. Like, your team doesn't even have, like, 1.5 items on anyone, right? Like, the closest is your Ambessa, who's got a few items here. Or, like, a Cyclo Sword and some long swords as a nice little Pantheon ult there by Triptoid. Got to give him credit where credit's due. That was a nice angle. Whew. Like I was saying, the difficult thing here with the compositionally speaking, is that the later the game goes, the more and more useless this Nunu is. At least the Pantheon has a targeted stun and like does some real damage and is kind of tanky, sort of. The Nunu just, it's just such a struggle to be useful as Nunu the later and later the game goes. And this is really not a good game state for the Nunu, right? Like, when the enemy AD carry is this fed, you're going to snowball into a fight as Nunu and like, you're just going to die, like, straight up. As we're seeing a nice little CC combo onto the Tristana here. Big shutdown going exactly where you want it, right onto your Ambessa. Let's take a quick look at the gold again. So this shutdown is Slingshot, is Legend Cheever 9 back ahead of Wordoy again now. In the overall grand scheme of things, ultimately, Legend Cheever 9 is still down, more than 2,000 gold to the Tristana. So I don't think that's going to be enough. But if you can chain together a few more plays like that, where you basically just 100 to 0 the Tristana specifically in CC, while the Tristana's alone. The tough part is you can't really do that if the Tristana has teammates nearby, and there's not really much reason for the Tristana to be alone, outside of the next like 2 or 3 minutes. As we're seeing, this is a dangerous point to be in. Gunner62 looks like he's getting trained down in the bot lane. Wordoy is getting some big damage out here. R3 going to come across. Avik will actually be fine. Unless he gets hit by the spear, maybe. Yeah, because Nunu's health bar is pretty fake. Does get to be full health all the time with that consume coming out. So not too worried about that, but I do think this is going to be the Rift Herald going over to Rammus 310. Most likely. They do have control in the jungle here. Oberon is going to be doing some big... I mean, just look at these auto attacks, right? Like, going to jump in. I think that might not have really been what Oberon wanted. But with the flash, the barrier, and the jump out, is able to get out. That ultimately was a trade of jungler for support, which is a fine trade. As Rappelcopter, you got to be okay with that. The danger here is if you lose more, and they do have some pretty low health bars. The Ezreal is going to go a bit wider. I guess, really, technically, it's a field goal. Oh, my God. We'll go back and watch this again afterwards. But that was a bit of a brutal play there. I mean, let's look at the beginning of this, because this actually ends up being overall pretty good for Squirt Bottle. This initial trade here is, I think, favorable for Rammus 310, trading your support for the enemy jungler. But on the extended play, they're able to get this damage onto Wordoy without taking too much in response. Oberon gets a little chunked by the Ezreal WQ, and then the Ezreal flash misses the Q, doesn't quite get the auto attack in there in time, as Gunner62 gets a nice QW there. That's pretty good. I mean, ultimately, they got the shutdown on the Pantheon now. That has closed the gold gap a little bit. We're back to being about 5k away. 2 dragons in favor of Rammus 310. So I still overall greatly favor them in this game. But this is the start of what a comeback would look like for Squirt Bottle. I think from their perspective, what you're looking for here is, hey, if we can get a pick before the next dragon or something, like a pick before the dragon, or maybe we can get a pick before Otacon spawns. That's coming in relatively soon. That's about a minute away. If we can get another nice pick or another nice trade, and then some follow-up damage on the way out or something like that, as we're going to see Gunner62 get hooked, but there's no follow-up coming in. But if you can get something like what they've gotten in the last couple of fights, maybe you can string that together into an objective. Maybe you can string that together into something useful. As Triptoid is not really going to be able to jump freak, since the Pop BW does put a stop to a lot of what Pantheon does want to do. So let us take a look here at what's happening here. Freak just going to take a small amount of damage. Rift Herald does finally go over to Rammus 310. Thought that was going to be going over earlier, but because of the way that the tail end of that fight did go kind of badly for them, they didn't actually end up securing the Rift Herald. They do get it now, and let's take a quick look here, unless something happens here. Let's take a quick look at ASOL stacks. We are actually above 10 a minute. That is great pacing here from Fofox. Not insane pacing, I would term, but very solid. We're above 10 a minute, and I think that's where you want to be. Above 10 a minute is pretty good. So the Ambessa ult is going to come out. I believe the W was actually canceled there by Fofox, but I'm not sure it really even mattered. Would have probably needed to insta-flash and W out if wanted to live there. A little bit of a miss angle there on the Tristana W. Did not predict correctly which way Gunner62 would walk. So Gunner62 does get to walk out of that alive, since it did take a less predictable path. Tower in mid lane going to get chunked here. Might even die to the Tristana. Tristana does a lot of damage, as we're seeing a Nice little move there by Rafflecopter with the pike. I will say a lot of the things I have said about the Nunu are actually also true of the pike. It is a champion that does get pretty weak later on in the game. Red buff is going to take it down. Another nice ult angle from Triptoid, just getting a nice clean kill there. And that's going to undo a lot of the good work that Legend Achiever 9 has managed to get done, getting that solo kill onto Fofox. Unfortunately, because Legend Achiever 9 is dead, they are going to be able to set up on this Otacon, I do believe. It does look like that's where they're going. Legend Achiever 9 does have teleport to come down, but because all of this setup is so favorable for Rammus 310, I think it's going to be hard for Squirt Bottle to respond. That having been said, it looks like they are going to choose to go for the third dragon instead. I think that makes sense. It's just lower stakes, and that does set you up to have access to that soul later. That is a bold blast cone to take here from Rafflecopter, and that is, I think, a pretty rough play there, because that's not only going to kill Rafflecopter, but Oberon jumped in trying to get a trade there, and now Otacon's on the table. And that could be a big comeback play here for Squirt Bottle. Was that a blind ult from Legend Achiever 9 just onto the ASOL there? Let's take a look here. Did they have vision? So let's see. So they have a scry here. Okay, so they see Fofox going down. Okay, so it wasn't blind, but still nice presence of mind there by Legend Achiever 9. Did get a flash out of there from Fofox in exchange for the ultimate. They're going to put some damage onto Otacon here. Okay, sorry. I'm turning my numlock on and off for no reason. As Wardoy is going to try and get something back here. Does miss the R2. R3 is going to come across. That is a lot of damage. Freak is going to go down. Aphic is going to go down. And unfortunately, I think that was their window to come back. And Triptoid is going to spear down Puppers here. Gunner, I don't think, is going to be making it out of this. Okay, I mean, it was looking good for a second there, but I think that was your moment, right? I think let's go back and take a look at this Otacon fight, because I think ultimately, okay, maybe we went back a bit too far, I can't seem to speed up, whatever. So this initial play was just, I think, a bit of a misstep there, taking that blast cone by Rafflecopter, and then obviously Oberon jumping in afterwards, didn't have to do that, right? That was just a mistake. But this is a really nice ult across from Legend Achiever 9. You instantly get the flash out of the ASOL. That puts a lot of pressure on them. Okay, great. Let's take a look at this setup, though. So you've got the Otacon is in a pretty bad position. I think they want to pull it towards their side. So that's step one. The Herald is dropped. Wardo with a really nice move, like a nice flank here from behind. I think gets really nice positioning here. And a nice ASOL ult. The Sky's Descent was available, which of course is going to make this more difficult. But I think ultimately what this comes down to is just this flank from Wardoy jumping this wall where there was no vision. I think seems like it took Squirt Bottle by surprise, even though they should have had vision on the approach here. I think maybe they thought that Wardoy was going to come through this angle. Getting the behind angle there was just really nice move by Wardoy. I think Wardoy has played this game really well, despite the deaths in laning phase. I think that's mostly on his summoner choice, to be honest. Sometimes you just get ganked a bunch and you didn't take flash. You didn't play respectfully enough. Fair enough. Yeah, really nice answer there to the Otacon play by Rammus 310. I think good recovery. That could have been a bit of a comeback play there if they'd been able to get the Otacon on Squirt Bottle. But from this point forward, it really, I think, will be quite a bit of a struggle because you do have the useless brick Nunu in your composition here. Your Hui is just a lot less powerful than the ASOL now that the ASOL is 2 items and 230 stacks, still over 10 stacks a minute. It's just like your AD carry is just so behind, right? Your AD carry is 1 item. The Tristana is 3 items. Like, this is just such a massive DPS Tristana, and I really like this build. I think a lot of people probably go for the Quick Blades. I don't think you go the Quick Blades here. Just buy the LDR and just kill people with the first bomb. Like, it doesn't matter if you have 100% uptime from your Quick Blades if you just kill people with your first bomb. Like, if they're just dead, that's better for your team. So I do think the Quick Blades is a little overrated in Tristana. There's definitely games where it's good, but I think especially when you're really far ahead, you should just go for this build. And you can get Quick Blades after if you really want to. But the LDR is just a lot better in the moment here. Triptoid going to get a nice stun here onto Apic, and this is kind of the brick Nunu thing we're talking about. He just doesn't really do anything at this point, especially when you're, Leandries. You're quite squishy here. And Triptoid is going to get some damage blocked as he's going to flash out. Freak was hooked over the wall there. Thin wall that you can be hooked over by Pyke. As Jump's going to come in from Oberon. Flash coming out from Freak to get him away from that one. I'm still trying to speed up the game here, but I can't for some reason. I don't know why. It just doesn't let me for some reason. I don't know. It is what it is. But there's some pings coming out in the chat, probably on like Baron spawning or something like that. Who knows? Yeah, overall, we're looking at a pretty interesting game here. I do think a lot of this just comes down to the bot lane was just a crater, right? Like the lack of combat summoner on Puppers was a bit tough there. Honestly, I did talk a little bit about the combat summoner. It's possible that even with a barrier, that might not have saved Puppers in that initial level 1 play. But regardless, like continuously Puppers was getting really, really bullied by the Tristana Pyke. I think it was a bit disrespectful to not take a defensive summoner here and take the TP instead. It just, that turned into just such a big gap in this game because, the other thing is, we look at you look at this game holistically and you say, oh, Wordoi did have a lead, but that kind of went away. It's like, well, the Nunu can only really go one location, as we're seeing Rafflecopter kind of get out of here. Freak going to try and get some damage back. Rafflecopter does not have the W, will go down, not going to get the healing off that gray health. I will say, that's pretty nice because Rafflecopter burned Flash on that, and the Dragon does come up here in 35 seconds. Pyke will be able to get to the Dragon, but I don't think that on its own is going to be enough. I think you need a lot more than that. Like, you need to pick onto Wordoi. Like, if Legend Cheaper 9 can get this kill onto Wordoi, like, if it can Legend Cheaper 9 already use the ult to get the start of this play, but theoretically, if he had a second ult, like, if he was cheating and had another ultimate charge or something like that, that could have been something good. But realistically, because of the Baron threaten here, it's even hard for Squirt Bottle to threaten the Dragon. As the Pyke has now respawned and is coming out on the map, the Dragon will spawn in about 1 second. But because the Pyke is now on map and the Gwen has TP, none of that stuff really came to much of anything, right? So ultimately, this Nunu making some dangerous moves. If the Nunu gets caught by a Pyke spear there, it's kind of over, I think. Some nice QWs from the Hui, but it does look like Rammus 310 is just going to force on this Dragon. I mean, they have the mega strong Sistrana. They can just kind of click on people and just kill all of them. The Nunu is down. The Poppy is down. It's just, I mean, as Squirt Bottle, I don't blame you at all for taking this fight, right? Like, obviously it looks horrible, right? It looks like, well, what were you thinking? But, like, it was like 8k before the fight. It's 10k gold advantage now. They're going to get the soul. They're going to run into the base. They're going to start blowing stuff up. And from this point, it's over, right? Like, there's really very little you could do. I'm looking at this game and I'm like, if Oberon disconnected right now, I think you still have a decent shot of losing if you're Squirt Bottle, right? Like, it is rough. So for people who bet the house on Squirt Bottle, it's gonna be a tough recession for you, I would say. We're seeing a 2-man Baron get started here. I mean, the rest of this game is just very unlikely to be interesting, I think. Like, it's a 12k gold lead. 12k. I mean, how often do we even see the gold lead get to this point? It's 13k now with the Dragon going down. So, 13k, Soul. You can see the objective bounties are maxed out. I mean, obviously, because the gold difference is massive. The objective difference is massive. It is even if there was theoretically a comeback source here, like, there's a GA on the Tristana, right? I mean, what am I supposed to say? It's just like the Tristana just jumped in and got like 3 auto attacks on Freak and almost killed him, right? Like, your Poppy support who has a health armor item and a Kindle gem almost just died to like 3 auto attacks and a bomb from Tristana. That's how strong this Trist is. It's just it is rough. And I am interested to see how the pick ban changes in game 2. I do expect being able to counterpick from Legend Achiever 9 on red side potentially maybe that turns into something. But I will say, like, Legend Achiever 9 in this game, had his choice of first pick top lane, took the Ambessa, and got solo killed. Like, he lost the 1v1 badly, right? Like, Aphek had to bail him out. Like, Aphek had to spend a lot of time, a lot of resources bailing Legend Achiever 9 out, and then even with that being the case, Legend Achiever 9, I think he's played reasonably well. But it hasn't really been enough to overcome the massive bot crater that was generated by Oberon and Rafflecopter this game, as Wordoi is going wild here. The Cloud Soul is always a nice one. The 50 damage nerf on the Tristana not doing anything there because the Ezreal still had plenty of health. That was just not even remotely close. Bupper's not even going to be able to get the shutdown on Wordoi there, as the Nexus is going to fall. Whew. So. Oh, what a game. Let's take a quick look at some stats here. As expected, massive damage from the Tristana. Actually, really solid damage from both the Ambessa and the Hui. Yeah, let's. I assume the next game is going to get going here. Yeah, let me investigate some gamers here. Get me in there. Yeah, while we're second game will be getting going here soon, hopefully. Oh, I didn't even notice we had the Rafflecopter visit. Genuinely offended. Pike was left open. Yeah, fair enough. The Pike was looking good. I will say that the Pike was looking real good. The Pike Tristana definitely doing some work. I mean, like I said, it was just a bot lane crater this game. The 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 bot lane. I mean, there was a point where we were looking where the Tristana was 3 items to a 1 item Ezreal, right? It's just. And it's not like the Tristana buys super cheap items either, right? Like the Yuntal plus IE combos, it's two really expensive items. So that is a tough one for sure. As I am receiving the invite, and we are joining up and moving over to spectate here, and switching back to the lobby. So let's take a look here, and hopefully we'll be getting into the champ select soon. Let me change my match score. We're gonna be switching sides, so I'll need to change the Squirt bottle to Rammus 310. Rammus 310 done, and change this to Squirt bottle. So this is the final game of the regular season before playoffs for both of these teams, and again, for people who weren't here for the beginning, Rammus 310 is currently undefeated. This is the last chance anyone has to beat them in the regular season. They are currently 5-0 in game score, 2-0 in match score, and this is the last shot to get a win up against them. And I think from Squirt Bottle's perspective, I mean, let me take a look at the seeding here real quick. This now means I believe this game doesn't matter for seeding anymore, if I'm reading this correctly. It is possible. Please, someone in the chat correct me if I'm wrong. But if Squirt Bottle wins this one, according to my current track of win-loss record, if Squirt Bottle wins this, they will still be in third place. So they would have had to 2-0, I believe, to get into the second place slot. That would have given them more points than a large skill gap. That would have given them 5 points total. But one win, which would be 1 point, actually puts them at 3 points, which is below large skill gap, which means they will still be third seed. So if I am correct, we'll probably be able to know that pretty quickly, because we will start seeing some wacky picks come out. Since I believe, not 100% sure, I believe that this game does not matter for seeding at all. We will likely be seeing things like the Zed top come out. Maybe we'll see Triptoid on a real champion, potentially something like that. But the Gangplank ban coming out immediately suggests that maybe we're going to be seeing just a normal match here. Maybe I am wrong about the seeding. I'm not entirely confident in my reading of the points, since obviously something went wrong, and I definitely had the points wrong for the other group. So it's definitely possible I had the points wrong here on this side. So similar bans, but this time it is going to be a Pike ban. Let me check what was banned instead of Pike last game. Last game, that was a Xin Zhao ban. So they are letting the Xin Zhao potentially go over to Triptoid, and I think that makes sense. Like giving up the Triptoid, or he's giving up the Xin Zhao. He's actually just going to go for the first pick Pantheon. Just say, I didn't even want the Xin Zhao anyway. Give me the Pantheon. That's the jungler I actually want to play here. Kind of interesting, since he had been prioritizing the Xin Zhao in previous matches, and then picking the Pantheon when it was down, but going for the Pantheon instead. And Bessa going to be locked in, probably for Legend Achiever 9 again, would be my expectation. The Nunu going to come through. Kind of a salty run back, in the beginning of the draft here, but with the Pike taken away. Let me get my. Did I set up the bet? That actually reminds me. Okay, so the bet is ready to go. Okay, so I'm ready for that stuff. So we are getting some insider information, and the Lee Sin pick has been denied from Triptoid. It does look like they're treating this game pretty seriously. The Rammus is going to get hovered, but I do not foresee that getting locked in. The Lee Sin is going to get hovered. Shout out to Triptoid, yeah, I don't really predict any of this stuff is going to get locked in. The Tristana seems pretty realistic. The Tristana has been really working for Oberon in these games. Oh, no, actually, we're going to pivot. It's going to be the Mel. So recently buffed, I think there's been a few people practicing this in Rumble. Some people saying, hey, maybe they want to play at mid. Some people suggesting maybe it's bot carry, which I believe is win rate optimal. So we'll see where this is going. Potential flex pick. Don't know entirely what we're going to be looking at here. I will say, as far as Mel goes, like Mel, like not a particularly compelling pick against any of the champions that we're seeing on Squirt Bottle's side here. So Mel like really got nothing to reflect, right? Like you can't even reflect Nunu's snowball until he lets go of it. So all Nunu has to do is just not let go of the snowball and snowball into you, and you can't really do anything to him. So the Mel, like as of right now, is really not looking particularly exciting. Like it may be that it cuts off some potential picks here on the other side, right? Like it is possible that maybe there's something that might have been desirable to pick for a Squirt Bottle that the Mel is going to reduce the efficacy of. But from what they normally play, the main thing that would be firing a bunch of projectiles would be maybe something that Gunner 62 has in the mid lane. We'll have to see what the Gunner 62 pick is, in a bit here, since I do expect Gunner 62 is probably going to be the R5 pick. Would expect to see the 80 carry pick on R4. The ban going super late here, actually going to be a skipped ban from Rammus 310. Gonna go ahead and guess that is probably a mistake. I don't think they meant to ban nothing. They could have easily just banned like an 80 carry or something or whatever, right? Like I think it does seem like Squirt Bottle is assuming that the Mel is probably a bot carry position since the Fury was banned there. Hold on, let me switch over. I'm going to go ahead and guess this is probably a... okay, so it is a Talia ban. So we're going to be treating that Mist ban as a Talia ban. Okay, good to know. Let me thank Rafflecopter for letting me know. Thank you, Rafflecopter, for for alerting the stream as to the Talia ban. So the Zillion is actually going to get picked here. So interestingly enough, I wonder if there's any potential of a Zillion bot carry. I don't think I've ever seen that before in my entire life, and I do expect this is probably a Zillion mid. But there's some possibility maybe it's a Zillion bot carry for puppers. Who knows? Lee Sin getting hovered here by Triptoid. Don't think that's getting locked in. And we're going to see the Nico come out here for Rafflecopter. That is a Rafflecopter classic. I will say, as far as picks to deal with the Nico go, the Zillion is probably one of the better ones. You can just ult yourself. Graves getting hovered here. Maybe that's a Hacks Defender. Salute here from Rafflecopter. Knows you're watching, in the chat. Who knows? As I do expect that this is going to be a... not a Lee Sin. This is probably going to be a mid lane pick, I would think. Okay, so it might be a Mel mid and a Smolder bot carry. Could be the other way around. Truthfully, I don't believe I've ever seen Auberon play Mel or Smolder. I also don't think I've seen Fofox play Mel or Smolder. Actually, no, that's not true. I've seen Fofox play Smolder. So it might be a mid Smolder here into the Zillion. That's a solid matchup. It would not be shocked to see a Mel bot carry and a Smolder mid into the probably the Yone. I actually do think it does look like it's going to be a Zillion bot carry here because I would be kind of surprised if this is a bot lane Yone carry. I mean, I'd be very excited to see that if that is the case. If there's honestly, Zillion or Yone bot carry, I'm kind of hyped up about this. This is something new, something interesting. I haven't seen this one before. So I'm definitely interested, and I'm going to start up the predictions here. Put in your bets. Bet your house on your favorite team, and put your fridges in. As I am going to be right back. Grab some more water while we're waiting for the game to start. I will be back in a minute or so. All right, we are back, and we are waiting in here for a stream. Or what am I saying? We're not waiting for a stream. We're waiting for the game to start. We're waiting for spectator delay. Mel can block two things in this game, and both are conditional. Yeah, you can block the Nunu Snowball if the Nunu has let go of Snowball. And what else? Oh, the Yone Q3? Yeah, that's it. That's literally it. Yeah. Yeah, wow, that is really not much. I don't like the Mel here, for what it's worth. Maybe Mel bot lane, like bot carry, is just really awesome. Like if you can get a really big bot lane lead, like maybe you think Mel Nico is a great 2v2, and you're just like you're gonna just snowball. Um, but I don't really love this here personally. I really would like you to see. Does that work? I actually don't know if you reflect Zillion Q. I would assume you can probably, but like no one's ever seen it before. I don't think because no one's ever picked Zillion before. We're seeing a world first Zillion pick in this game. It's kind of crazy. So no one actually knows how that interaction works. But I mean, I will say I think that unfortunately Squirt Bottle I think is kind of in a similar spot to last time. It's like you don't have some hyper carry that's going to 1v9 your late game for you, and you have Nunu, who is, again, I will reiterate, a useless brick outside of the laning phase. So it's just going to be really, really tough, I think, if you're not getting ahead off the Nunu. Like, you need the Nunu to get your team ahead. And then, like, in fairness, the Nunu ganks are really powerful. This game, I think there's a lot of potential to get plays going in mid lane. You do have the Yone mid, and so I do think that there's some very real potential for getting your mid laner ahead. But that's like, but you have to do something. You have to get some pretty meaningful leads in order to get this going. And I will say something that's pretty scary here from the perspective of Squirt Bottle is Legend Achiever 9 got destroyed in the 1v1 in this matchup last game. Wordoi did take no flash again, and he is against Nunu again, so is vulnerable potentially to the same thing happening again, where he gets very far ahead in the 1v1 and then gets punished really hard by the Nunu. But I just think it's scary because you just played this 1v1 and you lost badly. So like it's as Wordoi, I think you're thinking, okay, all I need to do is all the same stuff I did last game, except I need to die less to the jungler. And as Legend Achiever 9, you're thinking, oh, I need to play a lot better. As Wordoi gonna get no bad things happening to him there. As wow, if they had known Triptoid was in that position, they could have maybe punished, but did not have any knowledge that Pantheon was up there. Did go for an early invade. This is kind of interesting as Wordoi is going to go for a little bit of a screen here on the lane. So ultimately, despite the kind of wonky invade here, it does look like no interesting level 1 going to happen, and both junglers are just going to start topside, and probably full clear to bot would be my guess. Maybe the Nunu looks for something early, maybe skips a camp or something like that, but we will be seeing a little bomb coming in there onto the Mel, and I'm very interested to see this. It's Mel versus Zillion bot carry. I will note that the Mel has exhaust. Interestingly enough, that is assuredly late game for the Yone or the Ambessa should they go in. Not going to be that good in lane here, as a lot of damage onto Puppers here. Just a bunch of just spells getting thrown out. The Mel Q and the Nico Q, of course, just kind of low counterplay spells generally. Flash coming out here from Rafflecopter. Flash answered from Puppers. Rafflecopter is pretty low and does have no flash, as Freak is kind of getting in there, but Puppers is looking pretty low. Flash going to come out. Execute going to come through onto Puppers, and once again, we're just seeing the Rammus 310 bot lane just kind of getting the better of the 2v2 in lane. And I mean, like I was saying, I don't particularly love the Mel in this in this game, but like it doesn't really matter if you get really far ahead in lane, as there's a big minion wave and Freak is taking a lot of damage. Nice flash from Freak over the Tangle Barbs from Rafflecopter, and that's really nice. Double kill going to the Zilean. Don't know if I've ever seen a Zilean double kill at 3 minutes before, but we're seeing it this time, and that's nice counterplay. And again, this is what you need as the Nunu. So this is the kind of play that you need to be making. The 2v2 was going very heavily in favor of Auberon Rafflecopter, but getting punished by the Nunu, and I think that was kind of the story of game 1 as well. The difference being that the Nunu was shutting down the top lane, and the bot lane was getting cratered. And this time, the top lane 1v1 matchup is going a lot better for Legend Achiever 9 than it was last game. You know, at this same time last game, Legend Achiever 9 was down like 10 CS and dying under his tower, as Triptoid is going in on Aphek here. Don't think he's got the power to close this kill. That is the case. Triptoid is going to back up. Got a nice chunk onto Aphek, and we'll note Triptoid is up 1 camp here onto Aphek, and will not decide to go for the steal on the Gromp there. I don't think stealing the camps from the away from the Nunu is too exciting, because the Nunu is not even going to be doing a lot of his camps. Probably just going to be going to this top crab, and then maybe even just well, I was going to say maybe setting up on top, but is probably instead actually going to just reset and go get some stuff here, as Freak is taking a bunch of damage. Triptoid's very low, does have the fully stacked Conquer. Kind of surprised Triptoid went for the E there, because potentially Puppers could have maybe punished that, but oh, this might actually be enough damage. Remember, this is a carry Zilean killing Triptoid. He's dead, and the Feat of Warfare is going over to Squirt Bottle, as Wordoi is getting ganked in the top lane yet again. Remember, no flash on this Gwen. TP has been blown, and this is actually a great start for Squirt Bottle this game. Not only are they up a little bit of gold, they've got, I think, the advantages in the places where they need it. This Zilean is actually not not in a bad position at all. Definitely down a lot of CS, and so if we hit X here, you'll take a look at the gold. The Zilean's really only up about 250-ish gold. Which is really not where you want to be when you're, when you're up 3 kills to 1. Obviously, you're up less than 1 kill's worth of gold because you're down so much farm. Partially because Zilean is terrible at farming. Partially, I'm sure, because of the way that a lot of these trades have played out, and the way that the wave was into the bot turret here. As this is going to be a rough trade for Puppers, losing about half the HP off of the Zilean there, just off of 1 root coming through. Because of course, 1 root coming through does immediately mean you're going to get hit by the next root from the other one, right? Like both the Mel and the Nico do have pass-through roots, so if you get hit by one, you're getting hit by both. And that is going to be a kind of monster trade with both the Mel Q and the Nico Q then immediately following it up. So I can kind of see the theory behind the Mel Nico lane, and I think it worked reasonably well. It's just, hey, as we're seeing an all-in and topside here. Oh, nice turn kill, as Wordoi is going to go down, but at least did get the 1-for-1. I think that was kind of what Wordoi was hoping for in the previous game and a lot of those Nunu ganks. Really, really nice there. The bounce on the Zilean Bob does work, as a lot of damage going to come through. And the Pantheon spear from behind, as the Pantheon was counter jungling, getting some executions onto the Zilean. At this point, the Zilean is down 20 CS. It's only 6 minutes. It looks like Triptoid is going to be going for Freak here. Freak with a little nice buffer on the Rel W to get out. But that is going to be the Rel getting pushed away from the turret. The Mel and the Nico are going to be hitting this tower, getting yet another plate, deciding not to stay for another wave. I will say, Legend Achiever 9 did have TP advantage on that previous play. So with both Wordoi and Legend Achiever 9 getting killed, that was a light advantage going over to Legend Achiever 9. Even though he didn't get the kill, did get the assist, and as I was saying, did have the TP, so was able to get back into the lane. Mid lane, I think, is going pretty evenly here. I think as the Smolder, you're very happy with going even with the Yone. This was prior to the last set of changes we did to Smolder, but this was, I think, in most people's opinion, a fairly Smolder favored matchup, because every single time the Yone did anything, you would just chuck a Q at him and get some free stacks, and it was very hard for the Yone to actually kill you. Just very, very, very difficult. But after a lot of those changes did come through, what is going on here? TP coming out. Oh no, what a disaster. Tried to go for the little cheeky TP to the turret to get out. Not going to be making it out though. I think it was nice presence of mind from Puppers to try and go for that, but against double roots in the Pantheon, I don't think that was very likely to work. But it was a nice thought. Just now you don't even have TP to come back to lane, so you kind of burned a lot on that, as that's the kind of trade pattern you do expect to see. Whenever the Yone commits, the Smolder just uses the E, and it's kind of impossible to hit the Smolder with the Q3. So, the ult coming out to prevent the dive. I'm not sure it was strictly necessary, but I think reasonable presence of mind there from Wordo to say, hey, this looks like I'm going to get dove by the Nunu. I'm just going to burn my R and say, you're not getting me. And actually going to go for the extremely conservative play here of actually basing and giving a wave. So Wordo actually playing very respectfully, even though the Nunu did back off. Not going to overplay that. And Freak is going to go down. Overcommit of the Mel ultimate there. The Ignite and the auto attack from the Nico plus Mel did get that down, but either way, pretty sizable lead here. Let's hit X and take a look. We're up about almost 700 gold on the Mel here against the Zillion, and that is going to be, I think, a bit of a challenge. This very, very, very strong Mel is, I think, a little scary. When the Mel, it does get this far, like it does get really, really far ahead and starts having a lot of, threat with the stacking and the stacking up people and going for the ultimate later on in team fights, can be a bit challenging to play those fights because, of course, killing the Mel is really hard, especially this Mel who has exhaust, right? You go in with the Yone or the Ambessa, they're going to get exhausted. You go in with someone else, the Mel's going to have W. And so the counterplay to Mel in these fights is going to be, it's going to be pretty minimal when the Mel is this strong. As a really nice combo there onto Rafflecopter. I think Freak looking for the Ignite, or the Q Ignite combo, is going to get that kill secure, but wouldn't be surprised if Freak does go down on the backswing. Surprised to see Freak go back in. Oh no. Both bombs getting reflected by the Mel there. Oh, what a brutal play as we're seeing a little bit of action there. Freak is going to be able to get out here. The Rel W up just in time, but oh man. Both Zillion bombs getting reflected by Mel and then getting the stun reflected on the Zillion. That is brutal. As a flash in. Oh, you love to see that. The Triptoid flash in to get the trade kill. I think that was the best play to make, actually. I actually think that was really Triptoid's only play there was to choose to go for that. Legendary 9 coming across, but Rafflecopter is here as well to hold this play. Still a nice chunk onto Fofox, but at least Rafflecopter was there to make sure that that did not get continued with the ultimate from Ambessa, and that is probably going to be a plate going down for Wordoi here. But Wordoi is in a bit of a forward position here. Might be a bit threatened by the Ambessa, though. Looking at inventories, Wordoi does have Blasting Wand plus Codex comparatively to just double Longsword from Legend Achiever 9. If I hit X here, I'm going to guess Legend Achiever 9 is sitting on 1,700 gold. Really a lot in inventory here, and so I really do not think Legend Achiever 9 is looking for a fight here. Because with this much gold in inventory, you really do not want to be scrapping with the Gwen. The Gwen is up like effectively like 1,000 gold in stats here. So a bit scary to even think about, fighting that out. We did not see the grubs going down earlier. Those were taken entirely by Aphic. So currently a 3 grub advantage for Squirt Bottle. And we may see a little bit of fighting here over these as we're seeing Triptoid and Rafflecopter teaming up and Freak trying to get some vision laid down here as it does look like with the movement of the supports. Rafflecopter, it looks like, is going to just help start these up, but Triptoid is going to back off. Interestingly enough, they're not confident in taking the 2v2. The Ambessa was here first, so it kind of would have been a little 3v2, and the Ambessa and the Gwen both have their first items. So a lot of this fight is going to be about whether the Ambessa or Gwen is able to get a good angle on this, and it does look like there is a nice move here from Aphic. That is rough for Wordoi. I think that is tough. Did at least get the flash off of Legend Achiever 9 in addition to the rest of the cooldowns that were blown there. But yeah, when only the top laners in these fights have the big first item completions, as well as the Nunu, I will note, did have the Leandries. The Essence River is completed on Smolder here, but that's really not a big spike for these fights in particular. It's nice for laning and all that. Yeah, nice moves there. I think again, this is just kind of showcasing like. One of the weaknesses of going Ignite is that you can't play so far up as the Gwen. This game is a lot closer than the previous one. Squirt Bottle, in fact, is actually ahead in gold, though it's basically an irrelevant amount. And they do have 5 grubs currently. One was stolen away by a Triptoid, I do believe. I didn't see how that happened exactly, but the Yone is going for an all-in. Reflect coming out on that final Q from the Yone will save Oberon, and that will be enough to keep Oberon alive. Still, I think this is a pretty solid position here for Squirt Bottle. You have 5 grubs to help your Ambessa in the side lane. If you can keep your Ambessa ahead of the Gwen, you can potentially have some nice side lane plays. You do have the Zilean, who is good late game, is going to die here because you got to ult yourself before you get stunned by the Pantheon in that situation. Triptoid going deep is going to get stunned by the Rel and get some damage onto Freak. Definitely going to go down here, but the kill is going over to Freak and not over to the Zilean. Not that the Zilean scales, super well with gold or anything like that, but you definitely rather have it on the Zilean building full AP. As the Nunu ult getting it channeled here, trying to take out Wordoi, or at least make a trade to happen onto Wordoi. Gunner 62 going to try and trade back onto that. As the Mel Ultimate, I don't even know what it's called, coming out. Gunner 62 is going to go down. So the Dragon does go over to Squirt Bottle, but 2 kills going over in exchange. So I think as Rammus 310, you're not thrilled about that, giving up the Dragon, but you're not super unhappy that at least you're able to get some gold back. And now the gold is very irrelevant, amount slightly in favor of the Rammus 310 here. As we are seeing a nice little Pantheon play here. And that dash was stopped there by the Pantheon W, or it was shorted by Legend Fever 9, but I don't think that was the case. And Fofox is going to just keep scaling up. As we're going to see, let's take a little stack check here. 128, so less than 10 a minute, kind of similar to ASOL. 10 a minute is where you really want to be at a baseline. Like, ideally, if you're really popping off on Smolder, you are going to get your stacks, somewhere your stacks completed, your 225 completed. Somewhere around the 20 minute to 21 minute mark is where you want to be if you're kind of popping off. This is a little bit behind that pacing. At current pacing, the Smolder is probably going to be hitting the 225 somewhere in the 23 to 24 minute mark. Obviously deaths and potential farm could change that a little bit. As we are seeing Oberon get pressured up in the mid lane. Kind of surprised not seeing the W there. W used a little bit late, and Aphic is going to get a lot of stuff thrown at him here. The Zilean ult is used to keep the Nunu alive, and the bombs are able to get the counter kill there on Triptoid. So pretty nice. A little bit of scrapping here going on in top lane. And I think this is going to be Legend Fever 9 going down. Oh no, where do I throwing the ult backwards? I think maybe thinking that the ultimate was going to connect from Legend Fever 9 and that was going to guarantee the R damage. Did get warned there, I think, about the Nunu coming up top. Yeah, I mean, honestly, in the pure 1v1, Wordoi has been winning these. And maybe that... maybe that is how this matchup plays. I truly don't know. Maybe Gwen is just really advantaged in the pure 1v1. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the build that Legend Fever 9 is doing. Again, not a super experienced in the matchup, but the pressure that Wordoi is able to put down in this 1v1 on Legend Fever 9, I think has been really impressive. And I think, I talked about this a lot on the first day when I was doing the full sort of team and player intros when I was going through all of that. I made a lot of claims about Legend Fever 9 being the best top laner in Rumble. I think Werder's making a real claim for it here, right? It's he's playing, yes, he's dying to a lot of jungle ganks, but in the pure 1v1, Wordoi is just winning. And this is the matchup that Legend Fever 9 opted into. As we're going to see, Wordoi die to another gank here, I think. Maybe the ease up in time, but no, he's going to die to another gank. Nice moves here by the Nunu. Is going to probably need more than that. Again, remember, the Nunu is a useless brick late game, so you're going to need something since the Smolder scaling is pretty scary. The Smolder is looking pretty big, as does get traded onto here by Gunner 62. This is going to be pretty nice here, I think, from Gunner 62. The heal coming through from the Smolder, but is going to be able to safely base. Nice wave clear now coming out from the Zilean. It does look like Zilean is going to be going for the Cosmic Drive here. This is, by the way, the Bork Yone, not the Yuntal build that I think people have been going more recently. For some reason, Freak is solo pushing a top lane turret there, getting solo gold on that. The sad thing about that is that getting this gold onto the Rel just doesn't do anything. The Rel's gold is irrelevant. Unfortunately, I actually think that the 300 gold that just went to the Gwen is actually way more relevant than the 700 gold that Freak got for taking that turret. Unfortunately, I think as like from Freak's perspective, it's like, hey, if no one else is going to get the gold, you should play up for it. But if you die and give 300 gold to the Gwen, it's just not worth it. So maybe just had to let that one go. I didn't see the exact wave state that led up into that situation, but that's a bit of a rough one. Like giving over gold to someone who does scale with gold when you yourself are playing a champion that basically doesn't. Bit unfortunate for sure. Sweeping coming out, we're seeing Aphic clear the jungle for some reason on directed camera. I will say, something I will note is we have not seen the Rafflecopter Nico classic like pop open on someone into a lane and just get a free kill. As a big commit here from Freak. Freak is taking a lot of damage, and the Nunu is here, but the TP has come across, but I'm not sure what that was all about. That felt like kind of a strange overcommit from Freak. Where his team really wasn't in position to follow up there. Like, there just wasn't anyone close enough. And, the closest person, Gunner62, cannot commit into so many members of Rammus 310. Rammus 310 is going to claim the second dragon here. Gold is still very, very close. Thank you for the Endstep hydrate. Here, I'll hit you with it. We are seeing the Nico play. That is exactly the play. Wait, let's look at how this started. Let's see. So the Nico comes across. Okay, so this was not the play I was talking about of the Nico disguising. This is just Nico walking up and going for the R straight up. In this case, actually getting a flash out of the Yone, that is a great trade for the Nico. Oh, no. Blind ult from Triptoid. Just absolutely take it out, Gunner62. I do like that a lot. That's a nice play. Legendary 9 is going to get locked up, going to get exhausted, going to get rooted multiple times. The revive does come across from Zillion. We'll have to see, do they have the damage to get the Legendary 9 again under the turret? It looks like yes, with the with the Mel ultimate. Wow, Rel and Mel in the same game. That's tough. I didn't realize that until just now. With the Mel ultimate, they are able to get that kill the second time through, and that is going to be the mid tower coming through. And now I think Rammus 310 is in a great position. They still have their Smolder scaling. There is no way this Nunu can kill this Smolder. It's just not going to happen in the 1v1. The Zillion is coming across, but even the Zillion, has some burst damage, but not the DPS needed, I think, to take out the Smolder in this case. The Smolder is going to be basing here. I'm going to guess this is a lot of gold. Yep, almost 2,000 gold. This is going to be the Shojin completion for the Smolder. Let's take another quick look here at the stacks. It is 20 minutes. The Smolder is at 190. So yeah, so we're going to be seeing the Smolder complete the 225 quest in about 2 or 3 minutes, most likely. Obviously, things could happen that change that. The Smolder could die, for example, which would slow that down. But the Smolder completion of the quest here is going to be coming in soon. Even if the Smolder goes and chain dies, it's still not going to take longer than like 5 minutes for the Smolder to complete it. And so any hope you had, I think, of Squirt Bottle of delaying, like the Smolder stacking, I think at this point it's kind of gone, right? Like the Smolder at this point is going to hit that 225 breakpoint in time for Baron fights at a bare minimum, right? And it's probably going to be in time for this Otacon fight, because unless you're starting Otacon in the next minute, the Smolder is probably going to have the 225, and that's going to make this Otacon fight very, 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 very difficult for Squirt Bottle. As we're seeing, Pupper is doing some damage, but not quite enough to dissuade Wordaway from just giving the turret a bit of a smack there with the Nashor's Tooth Rush. Slow going to come through, and the ultimate is going to come out. I'm not sure about this, because the best you can hope for here is to get the ultimate trade. And the Zillion ultimate is just such a low cooldown. So I don't love that. I will say, theoretically, with Triptoid coming in, that was cool. As we're seeing the wings on Dragon Slayer Pantheon kind of staying a little bit longer than you would expect there, funny enough. Nice cancel by Gunner62. I will say that was probably pretty critical for Pupper's survival. Since Triptoid did have Flash, would have been able to match the Flash from Puppers. Probably Puppers was not going to live there, as this is the Nico play that we were talking about earlier. Just hiding in the wave. And then getting the nice kill there onto the flashless Gunner62. Flash was burned in that previous play from Nico. Very nice Rafflecopter move. And you do like to see that. That is the Nico play you kind of like to see. Stun going to come out. Nice buffer by Freak there to make sure that he does not die to that Pantheon stun. But this isn't a Chad Smolder build. I actually agree. This is kind of a more standard, less exciting Smolder build. The Spear of Shojin. which I think is still more popular than the IE second, but I do agree, this is weak, and we should be flaming. I mean, it is kind of expected. You do want to get some health into your build with that grasp cooking you got here, but yeah, I agree, it's kind of weak. Definitely not Chad, as we're seeing the stun coming in here from Triptoid, no damage coming through thanks to that E. We'll take a bit of damage from the second bomb, but I think you're totally fine with that. Getting some sweeps going, and let's check on the stack counter again. We are at 223, so yeah, at this point, next fight, the Smolder will have 225, right? Even the first Q will probably, even if there was a literal instant fight right now, the Smolder would be able to get 225 in the fight itself, and so at this point, when you're in this kind of position as Squirt Bottle, I think it's looking a bit tough. Wardo with a nice flank angle onto Puppers. Puppers does have flash, and so could potentially use that to get somewhere here, but just gonna get cut down. Didn't even go for the ult there. I think you should use it preemptively there on yourself, just even if you don't know the damage. But Ignite coming out onto Gunner 62, and this Gwen is looking really nice for Wordoi. Is going to go down, but has put a lot of damage through the Mel ultimate, the executes, and that is going to be a 5-for-1 trade. Big damage coming across. The Gwen from Wordoi setting all of that up, just getting the kind of low cost kill onto Puppers. The Zillion being dead means you have no revive. You have no way of separating out the fight. You don't have the slow to stop the Pantheon from running into you. You have the AoE wombo combo here from the Nico, the Mel, the Smolder, right? Smolder's damage is a lot of AoE, right? Like, unlike most AD carries, he actually does a lot of distributed damage across the fight, right? Most AD carries, you just auto-attack one person, boom, 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 boom. Smolder, especially once you're stacked, you're just kind of spewing these Qs, which have AoE, and then the splash damage across the entire fight. And so it does actually go pretty well if you're able to set up these wombo combos with the Mel, with the Nico. You can take down a lot of people. We are seeing Gunner 62 here is going to get the ult through. Not all the flowers have been taken, so it is possible Squirt Bottle will be able to secure some of those. 1,000 gold shutdown coming across for Legend Achiever 9. Ult going to be used early from the Zillion. Speed going down. The shutdown onto the Nico. The shutdown onto the Pantheon. A lot of shutdowns coming across. Aphic is going to go down in response. Gunner 62 will live, though. The Smolder getting that kill. And now the gold is actually pretty close now that these bounties have come through. So let's actually go back here and take a look at how this fight played out. So the Otacon does do a fair amount of damage. They are splitting up tanking, right? They don't have a traditional AD carry doing a ton of DPS to this, and so there's kind of some split calls here, right? Rafflecopter starts basing, then cancels the base. Some people are going for the flowers. And we're just seeing some nice stuff coming across here. Legend Achiever 9 was exhausted, but because Oberon was so low in the first place, the exhausted just isn't enough to stop the kill. The flash comes through, really nicely played from Legend Achiever 9. Shield just in case you get hit by that. Aphic unfortunately wasting the flash there, but Gunner 62 just barely not going down to that last turret shot. And the Smolder burn did expire right as the last damage did come through. And so really nice, and then they're able to get a few flowers on the backside here. Let's just check in and check the flower differential. 24 for Squirt Bottle, and on the other side for Rammus 310, they're at 39. So they do still have a pretty big advantage in terms of flowers, despite the fact that they didn't get all of the flowers claimed from that Otacon. And I think as Rammus 310, you're still in a good position, but that did really help Squirt Bottle get back into it. I mean, look at the items now. Look at this. Legend Achiever 9, because of those big shutdowns, is actually now ahead of Wordoi, which was not true in the previous, before the previous fight. Gunner 62 able to get a little bit back here, still down quite a bit of gold to Fofox, but at least it's something. A little bit of a preemptive look here from Freak. Nice blast cone pushing Triptoid into the rest of Squirt Bottle, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Nice little moves here, getting some durability from Triptoid. But I mean, looking at this gold, really that last play did help a lot. In particular, getting some gold onto Legend Achiever 9, and maybe with the Zillion support, the ultimate, the revive and the movement speed, maybe Legend Achiever 9 can get some work done in this fight. And let's see it, as Legend Achiever 9 is deep in the backline and does get the kill onto Oberon, taking that out. The problem, of course, is that you've got more than just that to deal with, but they were able to get the Smolder as well. And those are the two big carries. Those are the two, I think, most concerning members in these bigger scale team fights. The Gwen, however, is hitting your base. So Wardoi chose not to TP into that fight. Is, I think, going to lose this fight pretty badly to Legend Shaper 9. But this Baron is coming across. Triptoid decides to take the Hex Gate behind the Baron Pit, is going to ult into the Baron Pit. It's too high HP, though. He's actually going to be able to take out Aphik, maybe? Oh, okay. 19 HP. Oh my god, I think the red buff from Yone actually secured the Baron there. Both junglers were dead. Smite's coming through. Let's take another look at this let's see. So, this is the Triptoid Smite, leaving it at 309. Aphik actually does not smite at all, and from this point, Triptoid, I think he knows he's about to die. He just goes for a smite, hoping something else is going to hit the Baron. Not his fault. He can't get this, right? Like, there's just no way. And whoa! That is crazy. So, honestly, a little bit early on the Triptoid ult. I think if he waits another 1.5 seconds, that play goes really, really, really well. Because he can actually stun and then threaten, taking the kill onto the Nunu or the kill onto the Baron. The Baron was slightly too high HP. Hard to judge that one. I'm not going to fault him for that. What I will say about that fight in total, though, is I didn't see the exact leading up scenario, but I think as Wardoi, you already secured the inhib. You should just TP over, right? You could have TP'd over to that fight with your, and prevent the Baron from going over with your team. It feels like that would have been the way to go. Yeah, I understand the appeal of going for a Nexus turret because now the side lane super minions pushing in are more threatening, right? If every member of Squirt Bottle comes out to deal with you, yeah, there's only one Nexus turret. And so the minions can actually get some real work done onto the turrets. But ultimately, I just don't think that's worth it, especially in the modern day where, Nexus turrets do respawn. And so this isn't even a permanent advantage that you got by taking that one extra Nexus turret, right? That was essentially a lot of time investment for not a whole lot of value, in my opinion. So I don't really love that play. But hey, you never know, right? It's like that might not even been Wardoi's call, right? It's possible that, the rest of Rammus 310 was saying, no, commit to the end, just threaten them, force someone to come back, right? Who knows? Let's switch back to the regular view here. As we're seeing a death cap is in the works here for Wardoi. I do like that. Cooking up on those AP ratios. Fofox getting some Qs over the wall. Freak taking a bit of damage before the fight has even started. TP coming across from the Puppers Zillion, who has yet to complete a third item. And we do see a third item here onto the Mel and onto the Smolder, the two big carries for Rammus 310. Freak still a little bit chunked, but not crazy chunked. We will have to see what's going on here. A little bit more damage coming across. We're seeing a 1v1 battle between the top laners on the other side of the fight. Wardoi definitely coming out on the positive end of that one. That having been said, did use ultimate, and that is a pretty big cost. Wardoi is going to just go down, just get instantly blasted. Triptoid is quite low as well. As the exhaust is going down, the revive is going to get blown onto the Yone from Gunner 62. The Embezzle coming back onto Oberon. Oberon is going to use the Reflect in order to survive, but the Nunu is going to be able to take out the Mel, and Gunner 62 is able to take out the rest of this fight. Is going to go down to the Nico, this final bomb though, and ultimately that is a Squirt Bottle win, and that is going to be a second dragon going over to Squirt Bottle, stopping the soul from going down. This is an absolutely insane game. What is going on? And this Zillion pick has been crazy. Let's go back and take a look at this fight again. So in the beginning of the fight, I actually think the beginning of the fight was kind of favorable here. As Wardoi, you get a really nice R1 and R2. You get some healing off your R3. Right here, we see the Pantheon ulting in. The problem is, Pantheon ulting exactly here means he's going to get collapsed on by the Yone and the Rel before the Pantheon can actually get work done here. And because of the way that the Pantheon E works, you can only block one of them at once, right? If you E in this downward direction, you're actually going to block neither. So you're kind of in a tough spot here where the Yone comes across, there's a 4-man collapse onto Triptoid and Wardoi, and they're taken out very, very quickly. that then leaves them in a position where the Zillion ult is able to save the Yone. This Yone is able to come back up with basically full HP. Sure, Legend Shaper 9 does eventually go down. There is a small shutdown that goes across to Oberon, but ultimately, because 2 of your members basically got collapsed on and killed, at the very beginning of the fight due to the split focus there, with the Triptoid ult going in at a pretty bad angle, it just ends up being a win overall for Squirt Bottle. And that's great, right? Like, you were down in gold, you were down in map pressure, you're down, I think, in scaling carries here. And so that's a great deal for you as we're speeding up. And let's go back to regular speed. Okay, maybe we'll speed up a little bit again. Okay, we'll go back. As we're going to see Triptoid doing a little bit of farming here. And maybe we'll catch up to 3 minutes ago at some point soon with this speed up. As we're seeing Freak do a little walking around. And little waiting in the topside brush here. No face checkers, though. Okay, so we're seeing Triptoid get collapsed on here. I do not predict that he's going to be able to get out of here. It was possible that he was going to maybe go for a trade or maybe go for an ult out, but he's just going to get cut down, and the kill goes over to the Zillion, who, by the way, the Pupper Zillion has a Shadow Flame, so going for that big bomb damage, not the death cap to extend the ult. The Mel ult was used there to very little effect, I will say. And Wordoi is hitting the base again, going for that split push. It does look like it is going to be an attempt at a repeat of that early game with the Camille. The Zillion and the Yone both TP to stop the Gwen. Arbron does use the stasis on the stopwatch, going to get killed by the Nunu anyway. Wordoi does look like will be okay. Okay. No, will not be okay. We'll actually be going down here. The shield bow was popped and the revive used. Fofox in a really bad spot here. What is going on? The Smolder is definitely going to go down from this angle. It might be able to trade a kill onto Freak or onto Aphic, and will be getting the kill onto Freak. That execute does come across, but hey, as Squirt Bottle, you're thrilled. You just killed all 5 members of the enemy team. Triptoid is alive, sure, but this is going to be your Baron again. You got another Baron, second Baron coming through here for Squirt Bottle. This is some true Rumble League of Legends. And I think from your position as Squirt Bottle, you're looking at this. I mean, you don't know what the gold is, but you see the kills are even. You see, hey, we're 2 dragons to 3. We just got our second Baron. And sure, our side lane situation might not be ideal. The Gwen is blasting our inhib over and over and over again. But these 5v5s have really been working out. The Zillion pick, I think the Zillion-Yone combo, especially in these 5v5s, has been really effective. Legend Shaper 9, I think, has been playing these 5v5s pretty well as well. Been able to get into the backline and do some damage, provide a lot of disruption. And then the Zillion speed and or bombs on the Yone combined with the revive on the Yone has been really, really, really big here for Squirt Bottle. The Gunner 62 Yone backed up by the Pupper Zillion has been huge, and I think it's worth calling out here. It's like, I think both of them have been playing these fights really, really well. I will say, I do think they probably made a mistake double TPing to defend the Nexus there. I think you could have held with just the Yone and saved the Pupper's TP for another side lane play. But hey, that's kind of nitpicky. It is what it is. We're seeing some Zillion bombs come across, and remember, this is Shadow Flame Zillion, right? This is some damage with Luden's Shadow Flame. As Gunner 62 is coming across, Oberon is just going to get cut down there. CC chained, didn't even get the W, didn't even bother using the exhaust, which I think makes sense. You were not getting that, doing anything with that exhaust. And it is now a 3 dragon to 3 game as Wordoi is once again hitting stuff in the base. Oh no, went for a really, really greedy, exit there onto the Hex Gate. Does not get it off, is going to get killed there. This is quite the game, I will say. It is wild to me that this game does not matter for seeding. It feels like both teams are putting their all into this one. This is a crazy game. The death cap has been completed for the Gwen. I didn't see if that was earlier. That might have been just now. It has the Seekers as well. Not sure. The Baron buff is going to get used here to take this outer turret finally for Squirt Bottle. Getting some gold there. Getting some gold back there. I do expect, based on the pings, that it looks like they're probably trying to set up onto the bot outer turret as well, which is, of course, up and available for them to take. The Baron, I expect the Baron is probably not generating a ton more gold for Squirt Bottle, but and you know we'll have to see if they're able to make much more use of it. It looks like they've got very little duration left, so probably just the bot outer turret as well. Triptoid taking out this blue, getting the blue over to the whole team, yeah, just this bot outer turret. The super minions coming across, yeah, still a really nice Baron there. I mean, at this point, Squirt Bottle is actually up about 3,000 gold. Not that 3,000 gold at this point really matters much at all, right? That's just too small of a lead to be relevant. We're seeing a little bit of a brush camp here from Rammus 310. Oh, that is going to be rough because I think ultimately, okay, nice. They were able to trade onto Rafflecopter. I think the difficulty with that is that Rafflecopter is worth a lot less than Legend Achiever 9 at this point. Rafflecopter trading his life for basically anyone besides Freak is a great deal for Rammus 310. That having been said, Wardoy using the ultimate and having a bunch of people chunked here, this situation is actually not so bad for Squirt Bottle. Like, ultimately, when your top laner gets caught and you end up winning the health trade, sure, your top laner got traded for the support, but, you know, ultimately, I actually think that was a great response from them. You know, they were in a good position there, and they didn't use any summoners, right? I think maybe they used the Freak Ignite, might have been the case. I'm not entirely sure, but they didn't use much, I think ultimately that ends up being pretty solid for them, as we're seeing a bit of a spicy Hexgate here from Freakin'. I think Triptoid's just dead again. Basically, same spot, same way he got killed last time, was trying to get some, trying to get the crab, trying to get something done here in the top side, and just gonna die in this topside river again. Fortunately for him this time, there's really nothing up, right? Like, there's very little for Squirt Bottle to take off of that, but ultimately, I will say it's a bit rough to have your Pantheon jungle get picked over and over again in topside, as Wardoy is going to get spotted by that blue trinket. It is going to base, I think, probably trying to go threaten that he's going to go for the double inhib take, and that did cause Legend Achiever 9 to base. Legend Achiever 9 might be thinking, hey, where's this Gwen? This Gwen could be anywhere. Gwen has not shown yet. They know that Gwen was in the bot side jungle. I think Legend Achiever 9 going to poke around and look for the Gwen. Yep, that is exactly what's happening. Missing ping coming out, trying to investigate, hey, is the Gwen standing around waiting for the Ambessa to show on map, so that the Gwen can then, cut down 2 inhibs really quickly. Because the Gwen is pretty good at hitting those inhibs. Got the AP, got the Gnasher's Tooth, got the attack speed on E. Whew. Okay. So, let's look at some interesting things here. I kind of do wish that Wardoy had dropped the ward in the bot side enemy jungle just to set up for a potential flank on this dragon, because the Baron is coming up in 30 seconds, but that's a bit of a tough one to start. It's a bit more risky to start. I do expect a lot of this game is probably going to come down to this last dragon, right? This is dragon number 7. Both teams have 3 dragons. This is going to be soul for whoever gets it, and it is a Hex Soul going over. So the Hex Soul is obviously going to be pretty big for whoever gets it, both teams, I think, are pretty well set up to take advantage of it. I do think Hexol is a little better on Rammus 310. You just have more ways to kind of trivially apply it at range with, like, the Mel Q and the Nico Q and the Smolder Q and all that. But still, I mean, you'd be thrilled with to have Hexol here onto, like, the Ambessa and the Zillion and all that. It's just a good soul. So, you're not unhappy with that. Have to see how this goes here. The posturing, the setup. I will say, from this current position, I actually like the positioning of Squirt Bottle. They've got full control over the river. They've got good vision. They can even see currently what Rammus 310 are doing. Whereas on the other side, they're kind of working blind here. They don't really have the vision set up in order to force and contest this. And the dragon is going down really fast. It's just going to be a smite fight, and Triptoid with the steal. He's got it. He's got the soul, and that is going to be the soul coming over. We'll see if they can win the fight, but Triptoid's got it, and Gunner 62 going to be going down, and I think with that soul take, Wardoy is going to be running them through, and that is looking like, I think, if they can stop this base here, a very close fight. In that fight, I am sure the soul was a big difference maker. Aphic is getting out here. Wardoy is going to immune that bomb and take down 1 inhib, probably going for a 2nd inhib. The Nunu is going to come across at very low HP. Wardoy probably just going to ignore him. I would have ignored that. I would have just let him go by. But taking both inhibs there, and that is going to be the soul and both inhibs going over to Rammus 310. It is crazy. I guess I will say Triploid has a lot of experience watching Nunu's miss smites. Maybe he's just too experienced at understanding what exactly causes Nunu to miss smite. Let's see this Baron as Wardoy did take a lot of damage taking it, and tanking the Baron and tanking some of the damage over the wall. We're seeing some of that damage come over onto Puppers. Failed E over the wall. 3 kills for nothing on the backside on Squirt Bottle. And there's going to be a third Baron going over to Squirt Bottle. They lost the soul. The smite got taken away by the Pantheon, but they got the Baron. And what is going on? And now you have a pressure window. You have a window of about 40 seconds before Wardoy and Fofox come alive. So I think as Squirt Bottle, the question is, what can you take? You have a wave in mid lane. Can you get the mid inhib? The mid inhib's not that good by itself, but if you can get that, that's a good start, and then you can maybe work that Baron pressure into another lane and maybe take out like the top inhib, or maybe get the bot inner turret for some gold to come back here. At this point, Squirt Bottle's actually ahead in gold, by the way. Not by a crazy amount for the point in the game that we're at, and people are actually hitting full build. The Yone is full build. The Zilean is full build. The Rel is full build. The Pantheon is not full build, by the way. The Ambessa is full build. But actually, it's surprising here that a lot of members on Squirt Bottle are actually full build, and the same is not true of Rammus 310. So they actually have more room to scale here. I guess some of it is more expensive items, and some of it is less optimal gold distribution, I suppose. Yeah, we're seeing some people are full build coming out here. And it will be the mid lane inhib going down. The question is, I think, can Squirt Bottle get any more with their Baron? And it looks like the answer is no. They are going to just give it up. The Baron is about half gone, so maybe they try and set up a bot lane push with this. They did all reset, spent their gold, the people who could. We are seeing some feet boots come out here, the Gunmetal Greaves and the Crimson Lucidity. We already had the Chain Laced Crushers coming across for the Nunu, of course. Let's take a quick look here. This Knight's Vow has been pretty good, 4,000 some damage redirected, and it's got some healing as well. Visage has come in more recently, hasn't been quite as exciting. Nice damage on the Leandries. Let's take a look at the Smolder stacks. The Smolder stacks past 225 don't matter that much, but whoo boy, 425 stacks. That is a lot. Even if they don't mean a whole lot individually these days past the 225. Yeah. Let's take a look here. So the next objective is in 2 minutes. So the really big thing to focus on here is how much more value can be obtained from the Baron. So I think as Triptoid here, you really need to not walk forwards. Okay, Scryer was used there, I think, wisely by Auberon to prevent the Triptoid Pantheon from walking into his death. The Baron, I'm thinking it's pretty likely that this bot lane inner turret is probably going to go down to the Baron buff, but Squirt Bottle is not playing super hard for this yet. So it's possible that they're saying, hey, the bot lane turret is just 700 gold at this point. 700 gold, it's not that much. Maybe they're just playing for positioning. They're saying, hey, we need to establish control over this area. We need to set up for this Elder. This Elder is in a minute 30. We need to have perfect control over the situation for Elder. By the way, I will note here, there was no Void Staff for this Zilean, but there is a Storm Surge coming in. So a lot of flat Magic Pen. If the Zilean bombs land onto these squishies, they will do a lot of damage. The AP ratio on that spell is very high. And so probably not going to be too meaningful for like the Pantheon, who actually has some good MR. Also has the E to just block it anyway. Big moves coming in here. As the clone taking some damage from some Zilean bombs. More Zilean bombs getting thrown over. I think this is pretty good, setting up to just control the bot side jungle. Don't overplay your hand for the bot inner turret. At this point, a lot of your players are full build. The bot lane inner turret gold is just not going to do that much. And so I think it's a good play to just set up here on the bot lane, in the bot side jungle. Set up your vision, force Rammus 310 to slowly retake and you know, buy yourself a bunch of time to set up for this Elder. This Elder is coming up in 20 seconds. I'm going to assume some crazy nonsense is going to happen in this fight. There's going to be some absolutely ridiculous stuff happening. There's going to be, you know, a Dragon Steel and, you know, I don't know, Pantheon is going to like flash Q, get a triple kill or something like that. I have no idea what's about to happen. But realistically speaking, this is a crazy game. Freak with the Flash RW. Far from the team, though, and that is going to be the Ambessa ult missing. Pupper's revive getting blown, but the Zillion coming, or sorry, the Yone coming across with the big damage, and that is going to be Freak not quite going down. Wardoy not quite having the damage to take these out. Gunner62 also has the GA, even if he was going to be able to get taken down. And the only person alive is Rapocopter. This is going to be the end coming in here. They can just skip the Elder Dragon. They got a 4 for 0. No players going down on the side of Squirt Bottle, and this is going to be the undefeated streak ending for Rammus 310. They will not end groups undefeated. They will have lost one game, 5-1 in game score, and I guess 2-0-1 in match score if we're counting draws, I guess, here. So no 6-0. Yeah, the final game coming out here for Rammus 310. Cool to see. Very nicely played by Squirt Bottle. Reset for 4th Baron, I absolutely agree, as we are seeing the Zillion come out. And yeah, the Zillion bot carry pulling it off. You love to see some cool picks. Very, very cool. All right. So that was crazy and long. Give me 1 second. I need to get even more water because I actually ran out during that game. So give me another 20 seconds, and then we will get back to the other matches, game 2, which we didn't watch, and I will avoid spoilers. Did I get the screenshot of this? I actually don't remember if I screenshotted their pick ban. I don't think I did. So let me grab that real quick for the Rumble sheet. I did not, I don't believe. No, I did not grab that. Okay, so I will be right back. Oh wait, yeah, let me cash everybody out before I go, or before I be right back. Oh man, 300 points. Who's the better on Squirt Bottle? Who's the believer? Let's see. Squirt Bottle. 6,778 fridges going to Whisper 112. All right. So, like I said, we will be getting into the game 2 of the other match very quickly here, but give me, I don't know, 30 seconds or a minute or so. All right. Let me switch back to the Rumble sheet here so that we can avoid spoilers. I will avoid them myself by holding my hand in the correct position on my screen. And let's take a look and view profile, match history. And as soon as this loads, I will click this and we will download the game. And we will be seeing the game that we saw the beginning of the pick ban of. If you did see that earlier on the stream, we saw the blind first pick Vayne from Frostalicious, and we'll see how well that's able to perform here. Let me get in game and turn off the timeline so we can't see the events going on there. The full set of comps here. All right, and turn off the time controls. 1, 2, 3.